One of the biggest fights in UFC history may not even happen. IslamMakhachev versus IliaTopuria, a super fight with ties to the mega UFC White House card, somehow just did not get booked. IslamMakhachev has started to call out IliaTopuria and says that he has priced himself out of the fight. But IliaTopuria has a whole nother story, and we are here to break it all down. Hello everyone, it's We Fight All Night, and we are back with another episode of the MMA and Boxing Show. And today we will be discussing the highly anticipated matchup between IslamMakhachev and IliaTopuria, champ versus champ, pound for pound number one versus pound for pound number two. How in the world is this fight not booked yet? Somebody let me know. So skip the intro. Let's get straight to the info. So IslamMakhachev is claiming that IliaTopuria has priced himself out of the UFC White House matchup versus himself. And it starts to make us think a lot of things are not adding up here. A lot of things are not adding up here to me. All right, now let's get into a recent Twitter post from IslamMakhachev where once again he calls out IliaTopuria and even lays out a few more details. Let's get into that real quick. So Islam says, I'm tired of hearing made-up stories from Topuria and his team. I got a call and accepted the fight at the White House. The next day, I was told he asked for an unrealistic purse. The UFC declined and he pulled out. That's it. Nothing more to it. Even his manager confirmed it. And you know, if this fight came down to one fighter asking for way too much money, it's just a really unfortunate situation. But let's get right into some words from IslamMakhachev.
No, in my division, a lot of contenders who deserve the title fight. Just UFC have to give me new target. That's it. I just waiting.
There has been a lot of talk about the potential fight between you and IliaTopuria. How do you look at that situation?
Yeah, I like this idea. If UFC want, I know a lot of MMA fans want this fight. I'm ready.
So IliaTopuria and his manager also released statements refuting what IslamMakhachev is saying, and they also have a completely different story as to why the fight didn't go down. Let's get into that right now. Ilia says, once again, Islam comes up with an excuse. This time it's an injury. I always knew I'd be part of the White House event. Even when the UFC told me at one point they wouldn't count on me for the event, I knew it was part of the negotiation. When they finally told me I would be on the White House card, they mentioned Islam, and I didn't hesitate for a second to accept the fight. Even though the fight hadn't been officially confirmed yet, the White House card was going to be announced the next day. And when I woke, I found out that Islam had gotten injured. And then Justin Gaethje appeared. Once again, someone else who will pay for Islam's escape.
It would be me walking in the street and finding face to face Islam. Do you think I would care about his weight? It's like, bro, let's go. I think that I'm the best in the world. You have the same thought, so let's find out. Let's do it.
Straight up.
I'm gonna prove you that I'm the best.
I think it's the biggest fight you can make. It's the highest level fight between what I think are the two biggest names in the sport, IliaTopuria and IslamMakhachev. You were just talking about it. Do you think this is a fight that can be put together? eventually.
Yes. And let me give you more on top of the yes. We want that fight. We've asked for that fight. It's 2 times already. We've asked for that fight, and I thought we were going to get it now. So it's a fight that we definitely want to make. Listen,
Wow.
you guys have to understand Topuria mentality. So when you're around sports in general, I just want you guys to understand. There's guys that we hear about mentality wise. You think of Kobe, you think of Jordan, right? You think of Bones because his mentality when it comes to the fight game, it's unparalleled, right? Ilia's in that conversation. He's in that box with those guys. Like,
So who is right here and who is wrong? Because obviously somebody is lying. IliaTopuria says IslamMakhachev pulled out of the fight with an injury, and IslamMakhachev says that IliaTopuria priced himself out of the fight by asking for an outlandish amount of money. This is crazy. And again, if this fight is not going down because of money, that would be so detrimental to the credibility of the sport, because this fight right here is not only a big fight that we can make right now. This fight right here will go down as one of the biggest fights the UFC can ever make in the history of the sport. This is a monumental fight right here. So I'm only playing devil's advocate here. So if IliaTopuria was asking for more money, I think that is, that's the least of the UFC's worries, that IliaTopuria would want to move up 2 weight classes to fight the champ at 170 pounds. And he want a little bit more money. He'd want to be compensated for being in a high stakes matchup, which has ramifications of being one of the biggest fights the UFC has ever put on. I don't even know if I can believe that claim. So let's actually look up the first time these fighters were going to square off. It was a few years back. These fighters were going to square off at 155 pounds, but Islam's manager, as well as Islam, just really had something to say about fighting the quote-unquote smaller fighter. Let's get right into that.
If he have to fight Ilia, no problem. He would have fought Ilia. But when Islam go out there and finish Ilia, he was almost 4-1 underdog, favorite, right? People going to say, and Ilia is a very skilled fighter. I'm not taking anything away from him. I respect him as a fighter. But if Islam go there, starch him or beat him, right? That people going to say he beat a 45-pounder. He beat Alexander Volkanovski 2 times. He beat a 45-pounder. You understand? He have nothing to gain. It's a great big, but he had to.
So it makes me start to think, why does this fight even matter so much? So, to be quite honest, the UFC has actually been really good at putting on super fights. So in the recent years, some of the super fights that did fall out of the grasp of the UFC's hands, I could think, let's say Anderson Silva versus GSP, the rematch with Conor McGregor and Khabib. We had Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. We had Brock Lesnar versus Fedor Emelianenko, which Fedor never got signed. And the most recent one that we could think about is John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. And we might even be looking at a John Jones versus Alex Pereira if John Jones doesn't get back into the octagon and, sort out these issues that he's got going on with the UFC. But I say that to say this. We do not want to see another super fight linger around to the point where it never happens. We are talking about the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world, who is also the champion at 170 pounds and the former champion at 155 pounds. And we are talking about the number 2 pound for pound fighter in the world, who is the 155 pound champion, who was also the 145 pound champion. Like, what are we doing doing here? These guys want to fight each other, obviously, or that's what they're both making it seems like. The UFC needs to compensate these guys how they need to be compensated. We need to do a mega fight. This should have been at the White House. How about we do this one at Times Square? How about we call Turkey? How about we fly Ilia and Islam out to Times Square and we do an open air arena? Call Turkey, call Dana White. Let's make it happen. Islam versus Ilia at Times Square. I said it. Yeah, you heard it here first. We fight all night. I'm juiced, folks. But we gonna stop it right there. Before we get out of here, I just want to know, drop your comments down below. Who wins this fight? Who do you think is lying in this fight? Who's right? Who's wrong? Is Ilia ducking Islam? Is Islam ducking Ilia? What is going on here? Please don't let this remain an unsolved mystery. Drop a like, drop a comment, hype the video. Let's get it out there. Share this video. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Drop it in your favorite Discord server. If you want to join our server of VR players and PC gamers and MMA and boxing fans, hit the link in the description. We are one click away. Support the movement that supports you. It's your boy. We fight all night. And I'm out.